Hello, beautiful friends, DXP community, Alephium community. Welcome to this special AMA. And I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to the Chief Operating Officer at Alephium. And I can get your name right, and that is Maud Bannwart.
Yes, you say it better than I do because my family name is actually my husband's, and it's Swiss German, and I have absolutely I can't pronounce it the right way. So you said it better
Right.
than. Thank you
Well,
so much.
I've been practicing because I actually took when I was in school I did French, and coming from the UK we're not really that French friendly. So then I switched to German, and I just realized that so many of the words were similar. So when I read Bamvart, I was like, I can say that. Welcome to the community. We are delighted to have you. We love to have thoughtful leaders, and we were just chatting behind the scenes. You and I quickly just getting to know each other, and in this community, we're really people orientated. Of course, technology, and would like to get to know our leaders in the space. So, when I looked into your background, it was quite interesting. You are coming from a scientific background. Just introduce yourself, let the community know who you are, what you've done before, and yeah, that's a good start, so everybody can get to know you.
Sure. I mean, I can start, what I do for Alephium. So at Alephium, I'm a little bit of a Swiss knife, even though I'm technically French. But I am a little bit of the Swiss knife, and I really make sure that, everything runs smoothly. So the devs can keep building and focusing on that. Prior to this, I worked in a Swiss crypto exchange, which was actually kind of my first, not kind of, it was kind of my first experience into crypto, both as an individual and as a professional. And I joined in that company in December 2017. And for those of you that were already in the space, this as the time where we first experienced the painful reality that we needed scalability solution, because that was at the time CryptoKitty were plaguing the Ethereum chain, and it was also the first time Bitcoin hit 20,000 back in the day. So it was a little bit of a baptism of fire for me when I joined. And prior to this, I worked in a tech startup, actually with some of Alephium core contributor, and this is actually where I met them. And prior to this, you did mention I have a scientific background, but I actually dropped out of college. I studied chemical engineering, and when I was doing it in high school, a couple hours a week, I was doing chemistry. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I went on to study this, and I was having organic chemistry for 20 hours a week. And then for the rest, I realized I absolutely despised chemistry. It was not for me, but I did stick around for quite a bit. I did 4 years. But it's also, I did a lot of student association, like organizing events, managing association as well. And actually, in the end, what I did in the associative work ended up being sometimes a lot more useful into my professional space. Of course, the scientific background does help me a lot, especially when I have to do, understand high-level concept and try being able to explain them on a high level. So it is also very useful as well. So that's
Absolutely. Wow, that's interesting, because my only memory of chemistry was I used to look forward to just mixing solutions in the test tubes. Everybody had their thing in chemistry. I used to be quite reckless in there, but no, that's lovely. And I got to know your dogs as well. Thank you for introducing them. It's nice to have the Alephium champions with you. Brilliant. Now, here's an interesting one. So everybody on this kind of AMA is either an investor and basically a real interest to what we consider to be one of the best, if not the best, layer one in this cycle. And I know you can't, you can't say we are the best. That would be a straightforward thing to say. But I wanted to just ask you about Cheng, because I did a bit of a research on the wider team, and I found him really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I don't think we often see him in the space. I mean, if you search for him, you'll find plenty of good things. But when did you meet him, and how did the whole kind of starting Alephium come about?
Yeah. So just Cheng is like, if you want to see Cheng and interact with him, I would invite you to go into our Discord, because he's actually extremely active, but mainly focusing on on development and relationship with builders, and trying to support builders into getting into Alephium, into building into Alephium. I am the designated speaker. That's why. But you can find a few interventions from Cheng. So I mean, you can find a little bit about Cheng's background. So Cheng is originally Chinese, as you probably guessed from the name. But he came to Switzerland to do PhD studies. And actually, the PhD topic was around consensus algorithm. And he wrote, like this one, I have to say, right? So please don't quote me 100% of that. I think he wrote a paper on the first asynchronous Byzantine algorithm. No, the first asynchronous linear Byzantine something. And actually, that paper that he wrote got a little bit of traction also into the crypto space, and he was invited to present that paper at one of the Ethereum events. And this is why he kind of started diving into the blockchain crypto side of things. And when he started investigating what he saw over the next few years, he realized that he wanted to build something different, because he wasn't super happy with some of the direction, or at least he felt like an alternative was necessary. And definitely, I believe that it is. And how I met Cheng, so actually Cheng, and actually you have it on screen here, Mika, who is in this picture that you have, and actually another one of the team member called Toma, which is somewhere else. We all worked for a Swiss startup that is called Bestmy, or was called Bestmy because it's been bought now. But that was actually in self-driving cars, so autonomous mobility, specifically kind of a software that managed mobility services that would use self-driving cars. And this is where we met. I actually wrote as part one of my responsibility in this startup at some point was to write the letter to the authorities to have them accept Cheng's visa, basically, because since in Switzerland, if you are coming from outside Europe, and as a company, if you want to hire someone from outside Europe, you need to really advocate for that. And so actually, I wrote kind of the whole letter, which was accepted. So I will take credit for the fact that Cheng is still in Switzerland today.
Fantastic.
That was kind of this is how we met. We didn't really interact that much with Cheng specifically, or Toma, we were a small team, so yes, but let's say work, day-to-day work, not so much. But then actually Mika went on to work with this Swiss crypto exchange, and I kind of followed him. He stayed a couple of months, and because he was there before me, I stayed a full 3 years. And when I was finished with this crypto exchange, someone that I knew was like, "Oh, do you know this project Alephium? Because I see you've worked with some of the core contributor. What do you think about it? What do you think about them, about the team?" And so, well, first I said, that it always been obvious from day one in the company that I was before, where I worked with Cheng, that he was a genius, like really clearly way beyond what most people are capable to do in so many domains, whether we're talking about mathematics or computer science and programming, because often you have people that are excellent at math, people that are excellent at programming. It's rare to have someone that is so talented at both.
Find the balance.
Yeah, to have kind of both those skills at such a high level of competency, it's really rare, which is what I said. And obviously, I mean, both Toma and Mika, excellent work ethic. And I thought, if people are asking me about Alephium, they must be doing something right, because the people that asked me about it were people I, let's say, had good knowledge of the crypto space. So I went into Alephium chats. It was back in, I think it was in April 2021. And I had a catch-up call with Chang and Thomas to see what they were up to, what they were doing. And turns out, they were kind of entering, it was the end of the pre-sale and a few months before mainnet launch. And they had only been dev in the project, so they really needed someone that could basically do everything else. And that's always been my job description in every company that I was. So I was kind of perfect for the role. And and now here we are 3 years later, and it worked out really well.
Fantastic. No, thank you for that, because I think I wanted to just let the Alephium community know that there are real people behind the project, and whether we use the word genius or not, people can do their own research. But I just found that whole dynamic of this team absolutely fascinating, and I think there's a lead-on question to that, which is I think having a small compact team was quite deliberate, because I think there's an element of just a togetherness and knowing where things are. Maybe you want to just explain the thought behind that.
Yeah. So I think everyone that is in the team is very much an overachiever, big personality, and like this. So first of all, I think finding our rhythm and our balance took us time, but now we've been really extremely performant. And every time you add new people into a core team, into a small team, you always kind of create a change in the balance, and it takes time to go back to the same speed that you used to. Like, scaling a team is always something that is incredibly challenging for any business and any project. So, but I mean, we did scale, right? When I joined, we were 3. I mean, before me, there were 2.5. With me, 3.5. It's not Mika wasn't full time at that point at that time. And now we are 14 people. So we have scaled, but we don't really want to scale much further than this. One, because we want to retain our agility. It's a lot, sometimes it's a little more efficient, a lot of less inertia into the way we can operate. And more importantly, one thing we really want to do is for people who use Alephium to want to contribute to it. And we want to really move towards something that is more in a true open source fashion, more decentralized, where people who use the infrastructure that is built contribute to it. And it's also deliberate to not fall into the trap of you keep scaling the team, so you never really hand off to the community, to the builders. So it's also intentional to make sure we are not in a position that we can avoid it, basically, because the days are 24 hours for all of us. So it also puts us in a situation where we have to hand over to the community, to the builders, to the ecosystem, and we have to spend effort into making this transition. And of course, it also allows us to be a lot more cost efficient by being a small team, obviously.
Right. Brilliant. Fantastic. I think that's brilliant. And again, that sense of cohesion, again, people that have achieved in their respective careers and have a proven background coming together and having that core team, I think that's extremely bullish. As far as we're concerned, obviously, as the ALF community. One thing I love about Alephium, so just to give you a bit of a background, I was, I don't know whether it was an accident or whatever, but I stumbled into Casper back in 2022. And then when I found ALF, I just went into a dark room and I was like, what's happening here? It was kind of like another moment within this cycle, because look, there's so many things that I genuinely love about this project. And one of them is, for example, the deflationary tokenomics. People don't really understand, unless they look into it, when you have proof of less work, how the burn mechanism takes effect over time with the hash rate. And I love the way you've actually explained that in some of your previous conferences and AMAs. Do you want to just tell the community how that works?
Of course. Just before I jump into that, I want to clarify. So right now, there are several deflationary forces into the tokenomics, but right now those deflationary forces, they don't exceed the emission. So for now, the overall tokenomics of Alephium is not deflationary as a whole, because the sum of the inflationary and deflationary forces, it's still positive right now. But eventually, over time, we will reach a point where that might no longer be the case, and then those deflationary forces will take over the inflationary. Well, that makes no sense, but you get the word I wanted to say. One and this. So we have different deflationary forces. One that is easy is, of course, for now, all of the transaction fee I burned. In the past, so before the limo upgrade, only 50% of the fee were burned. And after the limo upgrade, it was increased to 100%. This can, of course, change in the future with future network upgrade, if it makes sense. And if, obviously, the consensus of Node agrees to that change. And then the other one, that you mentioned, is proof of less work. So the intention with proof of less work is to basically address the problematic of energy consumption of the network once it reaches a large scale, without impacting the security, right? Because obviously you don't want that. So the way that it works is that Alephium is classic proof of work up until a certain hash rate, which in our case has been set to 1 exahash. Once we reach this 1 exahash, which is approximately, it's between 500 times to 1,000 times, depends on the hash rate. It's been fluctuating quite a bit those past few days, but it's between 1,000 and 500 times more than where we currently are. Once this happened, the cost of mining a new block, it continues to increase as it does on classic proof of work. Because on classic proof of work, the cost of mining a block increases the more hash rate that you have. So on proof of less work, we still have that same increase. But what happens is that once we pass the 1 exahash, instead of asking miner to pay that cost exclusively in hash rate, computing power, electricity, we ask them to pay partially in electricity or computing power, hash rate, and partially by burning Alph upfront. It's really important that Alephium is burned upfront. So you will see once proof of less work gets triggered, when you have a block in the input of the block, you will have the burn of those coins. Whereas right now, when it's a new block, like the Coinbase transaction only has the coins being created, but being mined. But you will have an input because the miners will burn Alph upfront. So this way, you don't decrease security because the cost actually remains the same as it does on proof of work, but you kind of cap the energy consumption of the network at large scale. And if you want to quantify this, if we took the hash rate that Bitcoin has today, if Alephium had this hash rate in proof of less work, it consumes 87% less than it would if it was on proof of work. So at large scale, it's a significant capping at the end of the day of the energy consumption of the network without impacting the overall security.
Wow, that's fantastic. And again, that's for everybody that's very clear. And if it happens over time, even better, because I think there are investments. Often people hear about people that got rich in 2016 or 2017 or 28, whatever the time was. It's important to know when you find the perfect investment in a layer one that you think multi-cycle. And I think this is something that new investors are learning now and becoming a lot smarter. So thank you for clarifying that. I had another one for you here. So when it comes to, again, security and scalability, right? Because the smart contracts are natives. Therefore, the dApps on Alephium are very much secure. And one of the things you said previously was builders can concentrate on building. The cost of security, we know a massive increase in bull markets anyway, anytime, but especially in bull markets, hacks go all over the place.
Yeah.
How does Alephium prevent those types of situations in terms of security?
Yeah, I think one thing again is important is that if someone tells you they are 100% hack proof or 100% secure with like this, they're lying to you, because you cannot guarantee this, and you definitely cannot guarantee it over time because techniques involved in this. But Alephium's focus is really on security. And so what we do is that we have a very unique design and a very unique accounting model, which basically we have state for smart contract, which means from a builder perspective, you have the same functionality and ease of programming as you are experienced on Ethereum, for example, or any other account-based chain. You kind of have the same flexibility, but you still benefit from the UTXO model security when it comes to asset management, for example. And because we have this unique accounting model, the stateful UTXO model, it also means we have our own virtual machine and own smart contract language, which both have been really designed with security in mind and making sure that it's easy to build secure dApps for developers. So we eliminate a lot of the most prevalent attack vector. I will name one, for example. One is called reentrancy. This is something that has drained over $1 billion of asset in protocols during the bear market. I want to add. And so this, for example, reentrancy is not possible on Alephium at all. Another point that we have is something that we call the asset permission system. So basically on Alephium, if you're interacting with a smart contract and you want to do a transaction, you will do that one transaction and this is it. And you're thinking, yeah, I mean, that's obvious. This is how it should be, right? Yes, but it's also not how it is in the majority of the chain right now. If you take, again, Ethereum, if you take Ethereum and EVM, for example, if you want to interact with any contract or Uniswap, before being able to make a transaction, you first have to approve assets. So you basically have to allow those smart contracts to interact with assets into your wallet. This is a separate transaction at the end of the day, so you have to pay transaction fee for this. And in most cases, either the smart contract in question will ask you to approve an unlimited amount of token, or a user will choose to approve an unlimited amount of tokens so they don't have to repeat that step multiple times, because it is cumbersome to have to do this and expensive. But what people don't realize is then that approval is valid at all times, even when you're not connected to the smart contract, and that can be leveraged to drain in your wallet later on. And if you want to revoke an approval that you've given, you can't do this on your wallet. You have to find a trusted third-party website. So again, here, the opportunity for phishing or connecting your wallet in the wrong place, again, increases a lot. And once you connect your wallet, so by the way, if you want to do this on Etherscan. They have a thing to do that, and that's a reliable, that's a trusted website, I would say. And you can see your approval and revoke them. And you can't, but by the way, you cannot see previous approval. So you can only see the one that are effective now. So you can see that this, both from a user perspective and from a user experience and a security perspective, this is less than ideal. And really everything on Alephium has been optimized so that things are straightforward, take the least amount of time as possible, like the least amount of step as possible, because then you limit the room for errors on the developer side, but also the surface of attack. And to give you a good example, actually we published yesterday the talk of this person. We had a developer who spoke at our first developer meetup. They had several years of experience in actually other UTXO-based chain, like other UTXO-based chain with smart contract capabilities, and they were trying to build a dApp. And with prior experience, like 2 to 3 years experience on those chain, it took them maybe 4 months to build it. Whereas for our first hackathon back in January, they could learn a completely new stack because they had never built on Alephium before, and built the app on Alephium in 2 weeks. So you can really see that, because some people always ask us like, oh, you have a new smart contract language, is it difficult for new dev to pick up? And so far, the return of experience on people who actually have done it is that it's extremely easy to pick up because it's very intuitive. Obviously, there's still a lot of things that we can improve. We're still a young chain, right? So we have to improve documentation. We of course, have to build out more functionalities. Our use cases emerge. But the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive about how straightforward it is, how the many things that are built in are very intuitive and makes the life easier. So if you're a project and you build on Alephium, you can hope to reduce your overall development cost because you might need less amount of people to develop the same thing. You might need, less expensive audits because, again, there's a lot less attack vector to protect yourself against. And you can really focus on innovating. So you really have a little bit more a free mind to innovate. And I think this is really what is exciting to see what people can come up with when they have a little bit this freedom.
Well, there's plenty of that happening right now in Athens. It's it's a full. Anybody who hasn't read this, I'll drop a link for you guys. Very, very interesting, and obviously leading on from Hackathon as well, which was a fantastic success. This was. Is there like a follow-up of this?
In what sense? I mean, so that was the first hackathon. Right now, we have not started planning like a second hackathon. This was the first one back in February. Like you said, for us, it was really an overwhelming success. We had, at the end of the day, 75 people who participated, which those 75, most of them worked in teams. So we had 25 final submission. Bitmain was a sponsor, which for us was a nice little wink to the proof of work and kind of ASIC space on the mining side. And some of the dApps that were built during the hackathon has been launched on mainnet. Some others are continuing the development. When we do the ecosystem update, a lot of them, of course, we track the project that came out of the hackathon, because again, some of them are live on mainnet, some of them are continuing the development they started during the hackathon. So for us, it was really kind of the first time that within one specific occasion, we had builders from all horizon. We had people coming from the Solana ecosystem, from Cadena, obviously from Ethereum, Polygon area. We had people again coming from Ergo, Cardano. We also had a few people with no crypto development experience that were just like, wanted to get started. And they are still, one of them actually still was at the meetup. He made a super funny tweet with a super fun video about, I have to find it. I think their name is Intrepid. And so, he's still in the community, still building. He was at the meetup. So it's been really awesome. And after taking a couple of weeks to breathe, because I've been traveling a lot the past month, I think, we need to start thinking about organizing or second hackathon, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this was really, really exciting. And to be honest with you, juicy prices as well. If you look at the winners over here, top prize here is $15,000. Shout out to the winners for participating in this. And one of the things I was actually thinking was in 2023, obviously holding Casper, Alpha's building, this whole idea of following the miners, right? You follow the miners, and essentially the like we were talking about, hash rate, network effect. So all I'm saying to the community is follow the signs. There's more than, sometimes when you look at a project, in its kind of path, you start to see where the future is, meeting the team, knowing the developments, looking at Athens, for example, looking at Hackathon, because of course the technology is exciting, of course, but I always believe, and again, this is why we're just happy to have you on board. I love the fact that there's people behind this. And when you connect all of these dots together, then you ask yourself, how capable is this team in advancing this project? And I think the second hackathon will be. I think it will be awesome as well. So let me ask you, on the back of that, let me just ask you. I've got a list of. So I'm always in the. I'm always in the Alf website looking at the ecosystem, and lately a certain AIN has come into what I consider to be my investment zone. Like, there was Twitter Spaces last week about AIN. We kind of shared that. What projects are you most excited about? And I know, of course, you've done your first NFT as well, by yourself. So yeah, tell us what projects are coming on. What are you most excited about?
Honestly,
Um,
I'm excited about everything. I'm excited about what existing projects are gonna deliver, because IEN was actually the first steps on Alephium. So they kind of kickstarted the ecosystem basically, and right now they have a very ambitious roadmap, and they are starting to deliver consistently on this roadmap. So this is very exciting to see the evolution from being the first step to the effort they are doing now to continue, because they are starting to have competition, because we are having more decks that are launching. So we had Dead Rare, which is the first NFT marketplace. The developers behind Dead Rare launched order book based decks called Candy Swap. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. And the winner from the hackathon that you were showing before, Invariant, they are also still working on their decks, and hopefully, and I mean, if you're on Discord, you can see them asking a lot of questions. They are actively continuing the development, so they should launch on mainnet also as well in the coming weeks or months. So I'm quite excited for not only seeing the launch, but seeing the continued evolution of the project at launch, because I think this is the part that really shows the the life of an ecosystem, right? Because you want to see the
Absolutely.
continued effort after launch. I mean, I honestly am excited about every one of them. One that I know the community is especially excited about is Alpbanks, because that would be kind of a full-fledged, full-on DeFi, masterpiece with over-collateralized stablecoin, lending protocol, liquidation pool, and auction pool, like really kind of a full-fledged multi-feature DeFi platform that really enable people to capitalize on the up, on the down, and everything. So I think the community is extremely excited for this, because this is the kind of application that have driven a lot of adoption in other ecosystems. And so I know a lot of people are looking into this. There's more NFT marketplace launching. There's so many things, and I feel really bad because I really want to be. I feel like I've said nothing, and then it's like I should take a list with me, because I want to mention everyone. I think everyone in the ecosystem is an
In the
incredibly
ecosystem. We
yeah.
shout out the ecosystem because I'm gonna show people something that they can use today, and it's one of those $1 million questions. So let me show you guys a quick magic here. A lot of you've been asking me, how do you buy projects on Alephium? So when you come to the A index, all you've got to do is, and by the way, I use all the wallets. They are, I mean, whenever you want to refresh your portfolio, the iOS wallet is probably one of the best that I've actually, in terms of UI, it's quality. But most people don't actually know there's actually an extension Web3 wallet. So all you've got to do, you can actually connect the desktop, which is also really, really well designed, beautiful interface. It's literally just like the one on the iOS and Android. But do you see here, guys? You've got extension wallet. So all you have to do is download the extension, or you can connect it to your desktop wallet, and boom, you've got this. Now, whether you wanted to buy, obviously, I'm not going to open my my wallet right now. There could be quite a lot of alpha in there. But honestly, if anybody wants to buy any token in the ecosystem, all you have to do is connect the desktop or the wallet extension, use your Alephium, and boom, look at this ecosystem here. and some of the stuff you can do here is quite obviously it's quite juicy. I mean, one thing I've been doing is buying, of course, in and not financial advice and all of that. But when you look at the main decks and when you look at the layer one, often you would have the layer one, and then you will see the value, like for example, Ethereum and Uniswap. So naturally, you come here to be able to put a hedge on that. So thank you for clarifying that. And of course, there's Alpha Land, the Alpha Bridge.
Yeah, there's a few things already into the ecosystem. Like a lot of people, I mean, so one of the, you were talking about like a little bit before, I think one thing that people can verify is that our team has been very consistently delivering sometimes things that are not yet available in even more mature ecosystem. And I think one of the things we delivered that really helped kickstart the ecosystem was the bridge, because the bridge is one of the decentralized applications, is the one decentralized application actually that was built by the core contributor. And that allowed us to bring wrapped stablecoin into the ecosystem, and that really helped kickstart the adoption specifically on IN, for example, because then actually the pair, I think it's the pair Alpha USDT, at some point it had more trading than you have on Uniswap for the same pair. So it's really awesome. You also have a number of games, NFT, again, the NFT marketplace. You really have already a lot to do, and this will keep on increasing. So this is really, as the project team, is super, super exciting, and it's a little bit, it's both exciting and a little sad, because now it reached a point that if we wanted to really be 100% up to date with what happened into the ecosystem, we would need to take like at least half of my day would need to be spent on that, and I have to work, so I can't. So it's both, it's super exciting but a bit sad, because I want to celebrate the work that everyone is doing. Again, like I did not mention, but actually this is the second winner of the hackathon, which is the Links team. They also launched after the hackathon and are extending its truly trustless peer-to-peer swap. So we're talking about kind of OTC deals, but without an escrow, because with the UTXO model, you can basically do atomic swap between users. So you don't need an intermediary, because either the token are exchanged or not. It's one single transaction, so nothing can come in between. So they were the first one to kind of build an app that really leverage some of Alephium unique characteristic, and they're extending it to lending. Soon we'll have Oracle on Alephium, so this is going to be also extremely exciting, because this will help a whole new generation of app coming. We also have name services being built. One is live, another one will be live soon, and we support all of them into our wallet. We found a way, because two of them have the same name, so it was going to be a bit tricky, but we have found a way. So all of them will be supported into our wallet, provided that they meet kind of the basic requirement. So yeah, like it's honestly super humbling and exciting to see everything that happens, and a little bit sad that we are starting to miss a few things.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's truly exciting times. I know, of course, being from Switzerland, and I know your timing is to perfection. I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity. So I'm gonna give the guys some opportunity. I've got some really good questions here. So first one is Marvin. Marvin said, when will we have a tier 1?
Sorry.
Oh, they are here.
Could be, but husband is here. So let me
Sure.
stop soon, because he will realize this is my husband, right?
Right.
So we are working on more exchange listings since day one. As a layer 1 project, this is actually harder to get integrated into exchange, because the cost for exchange to integrate us is higher. They have to do a full integration, maintain a full node, maintain the infrastructure, and update it as the network evolves over time. And being a young network, statistically, we will evolve more than probably Bitcoin.
Brilliant.
So we're working on that. this is not up to us. This is up to when those tier one exchange feel like this is worth it. To give a little bit of context, Kappa that you were mentioning before is not listed on any tier one exchange, and they are in the top 25.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if it's supposed to give you hope or the opposite, but at least
No, brilliant.
this is not an Alephium specific problem. It's unfortunately, I think, a layer one problem, and it's a bit sad that exchanges. I personally feel like exchange have a responsibility to, because they are the one that kind of showcase and put light into projects and into kind of the broader audience. It seems that they are really focusing on short-term, minimum effort kind of things. And I wish they would do a more balanced approach, which of course they have to list some meme coins, but it would be nice if they would balance it with a bit more infrastructure projects. But I'm not in those decision room with them, so I can't make them. But we consistently update them on what happened, and pitch narrative for them, and work to push the ball forward in this direction. And as soon as it has landed, you'll know, because we'll tell you.
Yep. Follow DXP for breaking news. Next question. Would it be so when the introduction of ASICs for alpha mining, is it possible for regular people to mine alpha at home with GPUs or less expensive alternatives?
So I am not a miner, so please take what I say with a grain of salt. Right now, the only ASICs that are commercialized for Alephium are what you call home miner. So those are ASICs that you can run at home with like a normal power outlet. So in terms of cost, definitely not at the price they were launched initially, but I think now the price has quite lowered. If you compare like the power, like the hash rate that they give you, they are way more powerful than the GPU, and that of course, like that ratio of how much more powerful is much bigger than the price difference between a very, very powerful GPU. So I would say some of those those ASICs are somewhat accessible still, let's say to the broader mining ecosystem, because again, a very powerful GPUs, it can range into the thousands of dollars as well. So in terms of power, and again, you can run it at home, but then sorry, I'm just already reading the next question. We will have potentially more, I don't want to say industrial, but maybe that's the way, industrial ASICs. I don't know exactly what this will look like for GPU miners, but what we're trying to do is also to have into the ecosystem solution that allows, for example, people to participate, like either tokenized part of a mining farm. So you get you can tokenize a miner and receive part of the coin that they have. So trying to find to offer as many options so that it remains accessible to as many people as possible. Yeah.
Brilliant. Follow the miners. And the next question is, what is your marketing strategy in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, so this is always tricky because I feel like maybe I am interpreting, but a lot of people in the space always ask you, when are you doing marketing? And it's like, marketing is something we do every day. Like, building the tone, building the brand, communicating consistently. This is marketing, right? Like showing that we deliver consistently. This is marketing, because and actually, eventually over time, this is the best marketing, because it shows that throughout the cycle, we've always been there. We've been delivering consistently. So even doing this is marketing. Obviously, we're always, so one part of what is everything that we do builds into the project, the images that it has, perception that it has. And this is something that we do very consistently. And I think maybe, at least I think we're doing a good job, because when I see when we talk to people, the way they see Alephium it's kind of what we are and what we want to be and how we want to be perceived. Obviously, we do a lot of outreach. I'm talking to you today. I've been doing to a lot of event talking with Alephium. I've been talking to Alephium about Alephium in a lot of different places. I do a lot of talk. We do joint event with like-minded communities so that you can gain exposure, so that people with either similar values, technical background, or interest get exposed to Alephium. We do this also locally. So we do this also, it happens that I'm French, I speak French, so I'm also able, for example, to be more active within the French crypto community. Because I can, right? If I spoke another language, I would also do it in other language. We've worked also really hard now to support more languages so that we can kind of increase kind of the geographically targeted reach with more translation of our apps, more translation of our documentation. But like our apps are available in several languages and things like this. We continue to have, again, partnership with other projects with similar communities so that we can get exposure. We also have, hackathon, developer meetup, participation into events, sponsoring of events in some cases when it makes sense. For example, we were one of the sponsors for a Bitcoin event here in Switzerland that was called Paradigm Bitcoin, which has a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, I want to say, but somehow we fare very well into this ecosystem. So, we continue to do this and continue to invest into our grant program to support builder into the ecosystem. And also, where we are maybe lucky to some extent compared to protocols or dApps that are built, is that all the dApps that are built on Alephium also contribute to the marketing, right? Because when we say, hey, Alephium is great to build, that's nice, but I'm the one saying it. When you have other builders that comes and start saying, you know what, we chose Alephium because this is easier to build, you have a great community, you have support from the team. This is also extremely efficient marketing and awareness increasing things that you can do. And so it's also a little bit of a snowball effect. The more the ecosystem of Alephium will continue to grow, and as those dApps reach more adoption, it's also something that will trickle into Alephium. Right now, we're still in a phase where we have to we do a lot of pushing Alephium forward to also bring more visibility to the ecosystem. But in the future, you can definitely imagine that actually it will be the ecosystem that will bring visibility into Alephium, because people will be building, or they already are, but those amazing apps that they are building will reach much larger adoption. So I don't know, we're there. We'll continue to deliver consistently.
Well, that's and obviously, of course, with that comes some love too. Alephium D5 plus proof of work, the biggest thing ever. I think the sentiment is out there. Brilliant answer. I mean, this is again, that DeFi / proof of less work.
Wow. No, this is the nicest community member. So I like every ecosystem. We need someone like baby there. We're super grateful to have him. And we really have an opportunity. Alephium is quite different from what you typically see, both from a tech standpoint, and there is not that many smart contract enable blockchain in the proof of work space. And this can be seen with us having already the largest TVL of all proof of work chain after Bitcoin. And that is with only, I think right now, only have 3 dApps that count to our TVL. So it doesn't mean that Alephium is it means we're doing something right, but it also means we are doing something in an area where there isn't many people doing it. And right. I think, in a space where a lot of chain are, very similar to one another, with very similar tech, and with very small different in value proposition. Alephium really proposed something that is really different and can really lead to something very new for the broader space. And I mean, at the end of the day, this is why Alephium was created, to offer something very different, completely different infrastructure for smart contract and decentralized application that was safer, easier to use for developers, but also for the end users. And was still being decentralized, was still, of course, being scalable, because you can't be an L1 today and not have a solution for scalability, right? So like this we know, scalability is a must.
Right.
So yeah.
Brilliant. I'll take a couple of more, and then I know time's up, but great live stream. I guess yeah, I hope Sanjay is brilliant. Do you see any competition? And I know in the past you've addressed, for example, Cadena very well. You know, you said there's space for all of us to coexist, and I think that's a fantastic way for you know, a leader to approach the competition, because often there's a lot of cat fights in crypto, as you know. But where would you say there's competition, a healthy one at that?
I mean, I think it really depends how broad you want to take your lenses, right? Obviously, if you take it very, very broad, you could say that any smart contract enabled blockchain, any chain that does smart contract, theoretically is a competition. Obviously, then if you want to be a bit more pragmatic, you would filter it by, you know, maturity, size, so that you would have a competition, a proper competition analysis that makes sense. Because while I don't know if it's I don't think even at Alephium size today, it is a fair thing to say we're competing with Ethereum. Not right now. You know, we're not yet at a scale where this is an honest assessment. But again, if you take a very broad scope, it is not untrue at the end of the day. Same thing, a lot of people, for example, ask us a lot about Caspa. I think Caspa is a fantastic project, incredible tech, but today they don't support smart contract. That was not their original intent. It was really, you know, being a better peer-to-peer platform, which they have definitely delivered on that. So today, Caspa and Alephium were not really competing. We are sharing we're sharing the proof of work space. I would say right now, and I'm not doing a lot of market analysis, I would say the closest competitor in terms of functionality, size, I would say that Cadena is probably the one that fits the best into this category, because we are within kind of a similar tech family. In terms of size, we are of similar size. But again, I feel like people underestimate how much innovation still needs to take place in the space for blockchain to be truly adopted, beyond like kind of the more speculative and very cyclical adoption that we have right now. And you'll know blockchain has somewhat matured when the cycle will be a little bit less painful for everyone, and that we have like kind of lasting adoption that is based on utility, or at least more based on utility rather than purely speculation. So yeah, I mean, for us, and just because I'm also seeing the question, right, where we see the demand, honestly, we see a lot of people that want to be able to navigate the space more easily and more safely. Because right now, even if you're an experienced developer or an experienced user, it's still incredibly difficult to just navigate the space safely. As a developer, again, if you talk to projects, the amount of budget that goes into smart contract audit, it's often more budget than the actual development of the software, which it's not necessarily a bad thing per se, but it feels a little bit, a little bit too much, right? You want to be in a space where your people can navigate it safely, they can build safely, so they can actually innovate and focus on that. And so we're still really far from having reached it. And Alephium offers like I want to say a great step into this direction, a big step into this direction. And obviously we'll continue to move forward in this direction and to continuously improve the developer experience and the user experience, making it easy for anyone to build or use blockchain, at the end of the day. And I think there is demand for that, and whether it is in the space or in the broader industry, so that we can truly, onboard more people into the space.
Absolutely. Of course, strong technical foundations, a lot of various dApps, and obviously being such a young chain from the onset. Now, really, it's just we're incredibly lucky and early at that as well. You want to be at this early, but look, we want to get you back because I think this was brilliant. This was everything that we hoped for, and hopefully I will stop pestering you for a few weeks and then I'll start.
I'm really enjoying this conversation, so I could stay easy another hour, but I like talking, and I work mostly alone in my office, so it's always nice when I have a nice conversation and sharing with you and with your nice community. Always happy to answer more questions. It's always nice, and I think it's also what you were saying when you and I were talking before. I think in a space where everyone is kind of anonymous and online, sometimes it's nice to be able to kind of see and feel a little bit the people that you are interacting with online. You can get a little bit, you can put a face into things, and I think it's really helpful. So that's something I definitely enjoy. So if you have more questions for me, I'm happy to take them. I can stay on a little bit longer.
Yeah, any questions, guys? I mean, listen, keep them coming. We'll keep talking. I mean, we're talking about in terms of communities. One thing that always catches me is the number of international communities, like actually more than a lot of cryptos I know, and I've been in the space for a while. You have Alephium Italy, Alephium Poland. Like there are so many different international communities, and often, when we post about the project, it's
purely a
insane.
community effort. So at the end of the day, the thing this is you guys. I mean, I speak in the broader sense, because this is purely a community initiative, and this is really awesome. I think, again, like the biggest reward for the work that we do is to see that we're doing something useful, something that people are excited to be a part of, that they want to contribute. And whether it is at the technical level, so people building that, or people contributing to the code, or people, engaging into the community, creating those local communities, this is the goal, right? That is what we want. I'm sorry. I know I should say something a little bit more visionary about, be the most adopted layer one, which of course is also something that we want, but at a more human level. We want to bring something useful that people are excited about, that people want to use and contribute to. So seeing that, this is what is happening, certainly at a small scale, but still think a very decent scale right now. And obviously we want this to continue to increase, but that is really the goal. Bring something useful that, solves people's problem, make them excited to be part of the community and want to contribute. And this is what we'll continue to do.
Fantastic. No, that is we're gonna hopefully get you back. And look, on behalf of the community, I think they've got no more questions. But and of course the boys that are joining the AMA.
No, it's just that one. It's like he's old, and he's old. He's 9 years old, and he just wants his food.
He just wants to chill out.
He's like, hey, this is now time for me to have my dinner. Could you please stop talking? I've heard you say those things 1,000 times already. But thank you so much for having me.
Please, this is the unofficial home of Alephium. We try to host quality projects. We've hosted Dynex, yourselves, Octaspace. I've got Cliff in in the comments. This one's funny. Some say useful work. Cliff from Dynex. Brilliant. No, we'd love to have you back. Maybe more members of the team anytime. And once again, on behalf of the community, thank you for taking a time out of your busy schedule. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Watch it back, and I'm sure you'll be back with us soon.
With pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for your question.
Cheers, everyone. Take care. Speak soon.